interesting conference. And I'm here now acting as the collective voice of the law enforcement. And I will be firm and direct as always, and I will try to give you also a flavor of what is it actually that we are trying to do, and what is our task and responsibilities in the years to come. We just opened the center after a communication from the Commission, which was endorsed by the Council last year, and we have started our operation now with approximately between 50 and 60 people in The Hague. We are a part of Europol governance structure, and for those of you who look critically into storing information on people, we are scrutinized heavily by the Joint Supervisory Body, where the Secretariat is on the first row here, and next to him is my data protection officer, who also makes sure that we are not storing anything that is not adequate, proportional, and all the other requirements. And there is no difference about what we store from the crime in cybercrime or in organized crime. And I actually agree a bit with what you said, that a lot of the crime committed in cybercrime can actually be punished by normal law. So I don't think that we need to invent a lot of things. So here is the given here. Cyberspace will drive economic growth and prosperity and interconnection and transparency again. We are more and more interconnected. You can see we are dependent on cyber. It will be exploited. When we move into cyberspace, the criminals will move. They are there where the profit is, the money is, and they are already there, and I will give you examples of this later. We also have to be sure that there is no such things anymore as absolute security. I always say, don't post anything on Facebook or another area that you don't want to scream out somewhere in a square in the middle of Brussels, because it will be leaked at some time. Cyberspace is commercially owned and driven, and it's very unpredictable. I've read a lot of predictions just a couple of years ago from Bill Gates and other ones saying that the iPhone will never gain any significant market share. You know, if he cannot predict it, how am I then to predict the development in cyberspace? But I can assure you, there will be more cyberspace. And then law enforcement works very slowly, and we face a lot of legal challenges in this rapid and changing world, and that's a fact, and I'll show you a bit later. Cybercrime increases. Magnitude, impact, it's from everything. Cybercrime is not just a 16-year-old hacker who's trying his luck, it's actually organized crime. The development of cloud computing will pose significant challenges to law enforcement. Normally, when we investigate cybercrime, we can store a C drive, a server, something. In the future, it will all be based, and the criminals are moving to cloud services, and they will place these cloud services not in countries with a good law enforcement system and transparency, but of course in a weak state where we have not the same ability to actually interact. New continents getting increasingly wired, new threats. The EU is wired 74%. We are 74% of the population is online. Africa is about 13%. You just wait and see what happens when they get to our level. We will also see increasing crime because you don't have to move. And we, all of us, will be online all times. You will forget to talk in the future about the internet. This is just like electricity. This is a vehicle, a facilitator for communication, and we will not treat it in a different way. The biggest problem for police is that there is no link between crime and the criminal. If you have a rape or a murder or a robbery, whatever, there is a physical link. Here, there is no link. You can actually conduct crime everywhere from everywhere. It's very easy to hide in cyberspace. There's a lot of tools to make it easy, and the evidence gathering is very difficult. This is the cybercrime, the business model. The difference between this business model and the normal organized crime, let's take an example. If we want to smuggle in heroin for sale here in Brussels, first of all, we need to know somebody who actually harvest the crops and refine it, and it's produced and it's sent and it's cut up, and then it ends up here from Afghanistan into here. There is loads of areas where the police can intercept in order to achieve full transparency and to arrest somebody. Here, all this, except for the cashing out of money, can be done in a basement somewhere. No move, they're not even in our country. And you know how successful we have been in combating normal physical organized crime? How do you think we will be here if we don't shape up? So the approach is 3 areas in my point of view. First of all, awareness is crucial. Imagine my kids spend 80% of their awake time on the internet, but they never learn anything about how to act, to react, or to interact on the internet. But in the school, they have hours on how to use their bicycle, or if there is lights on their bicycle, but nobody tells them how to act on the internet. And I think this is a pity. And I think this is why we need more awareness, not just awareness for our kids, but also awareness for our grown-ups, and a lot of much more awareness in school, seminar, education, and campaigns. Then there is the cybersecurity. The president, he mentioned it, that we need better software, better tools, better hardening our infrastructure. And I think that there is a whole area which is well done in that. But again, there is no absolute security, I would say. And then there is the last point, cybercrime. The identification, investigation, prosecution, legislation. If you look at these three areas that we can actually impact, I think that the only area we are doing any progress in is in cybersecurity. Nobody has really been talking about awareness, and nobody has been talking about identifying cybercrime. So we need to bring the focus and the hair cross on the cybercriminal to make it unattractive to be a cybercriminal. Because it is very attractive right now. The risk to being actually apprehended is relatively low, and the profit is extremely high. So the European Cybercrime Center is up and running now, and we need to be at cruise speed in 2 years' time. First of all, what is it that we will try to deliver? Because we also need to grow exponentially, but we don't have the budget that we want, and nobody has, so I'm not complaining. First of all, we need to have an overview on the cybercrime in the European Union. Secondly, we will address public awareness, and then we will make operational support for 4 kinds of cases. Organized criminal gangs who steal your identity, your information, your money, or use the internet to facilitate child sexual exploitation. This is what we will focus on. It's not the only crime, but we need to focus, and we will do so. We will also try to see if we can get some money out of the EU system for research and development, so that the member states actually get, it costs a rocket trip to the moon to develop forensic tools for law enforcement here. We need also to show solidarity, and we will try to. Capacity building. We need to treat this crime as a normal crime. In 10 years from now, I guess that in the patrol car, the guy there, the police officer, will be able to deal with 50–60% of the average crime. Then he will have specific colleagues in his central station, and then you have 5, 10, 15% that you have to do internationally. But we need to have capacity building, not just by police, but also prosecutors and judges. Then, and I know this is sensitive in this area, is the outreach to the private and the public partners. But we cannot deal with this if we don't have any knowledge about what's going on. So we simply need to have a better tool here. But we also need to regulate, of course, the influx of information, because I'm also a citizen, so I don't want to sit on a big pile of information that I don't need and I don't use. And this is why these 2 gentlemen will secure that I'm not doing that. And then we need to be very, very inclusive. This is not a crime that Europe can deal with alone. I think that it needs a global approach, without being naive, of course. So I have invited Interpol to be part of the European Cybercrime Center, and I've been invited to be part of the board in Interpol, so that we can build up for the first time a complementarity instead of competition. There is so much crime in cyberspace, there's enough for everybody. So we don't need to compete about it. What we need is to allocate our resources in the best possible way, and we will hopefully do so. Who owns the internet? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Who decides the governance? Well, there is a number of institutions, ICANN, RIPE, ITU, but nobody really listens to what the law enforcement need in order to identify perpetrators. So we will also engage in that work. Final remark, there will be no open, free and transparent internet without safety. This is clear to me. It must be made unattractive to be a cyber criminal. And I don't think that we can take us or protect us out of this problem. And I don't want to live in a village where everybody is protecting themselves in the physical world. Why should we do the same in the online world? We need also to target the criminals. What is illegal in the offline world should also be illegal in the online world, I think. It's so simple. And then the last thing is, make no illusions. If you don't empower transparent, democratic police under scrutiny to deal with this and give them good tools, somebody else will offer these services. And they will not ask, and they will not follow any rules, and they will just conduct and commit to those who want to pay. And I'm not sure that this is the future that we want. Thank you very much for your time.